G'day, AJ.
G'day, Mo. How you
How are
doing?
you? I'm good. How are you?
Doing good.
Welcome to episode 4 of Songs on the Couch.
Sitting down, we're talking out, breaking it down, talks on the couch. Music and minds will figure it out, laughing and learning what it's all about. On the couch.
I don't know what we're gonna do when we get past 10 because I don't have enough fingers to because every episode I'm telling people what number we're up to with my fingers, but
With
once
you,
we get to 10, I'm in trouble.
I don't know, you might have to flash the 10 and then start again and then
Mm.
flash the 20
Mm.
because I'm hopeful. I'm
Yeah,
hopeful that we're going to.
absolutely.
I mean, there's a million songs in the world, right? So
Mhm.
probably
Infinite.
infinite, a billion songs in the world.
Mm.
So if people are into it, we'll just keep on trucking, right?
That's it. That's
That's
it.
it. All right. So tell me, drum chucks, what song are we
Yes.
bringing on over to the couch today?
We are bringing The Weekend,
Yeah.
Blinding Lights.
Cracking. Yeah.
It's a good song. It's a
That's a
pretty good
great
song.
that's a great song. It
Yeah.
is it's I don't, it's catchy. It's catchy.
Mm.
It's got that catchy hook.
Yeah. I don't know about you, and I know there's a lot of listeners that are like, "Oh, they're just ripping off an era." I'm like, "No, I actually like it when modern people produce music or, you know, bring influences, say, from the '80s, which this song is very '80s
Yes.
heavily influenced."
Yeah.
I actually like no, I'm all for that. I'm okay with
Yeah, like, reinvent it, like,
yeah.
yeah, bring it up to modern speed, like, take the influence, I wanna see what you're gonna
Mhm.
do with it, you
Yeah.
know? Take that Korg. Is it a Korg? I don't know, is that a
Yeah, yeah.
synthesizer?
That Korg is a synthesizer. Probably
Oh,
more the Roland Juno was more popular than the Korg, for the
okay,
'80s synths.
right,
A
okay.
lot of bands use the Roland Juno 6.
You're
Uh,
right, okay, we'll take that Roland, I stand
yep, the
corrected.
Roland, yeah,
Take the Juno, bring it into the 2020 odds,
mhm,
and go for gold.
that's it. Well, actually, this song came out in 2019, so not quite the 2020 odds.
Oh, okay, I got that
Yeah,
wrong.
that's alright.
No,
Good
I'm
work.
not good with the facts. So, do we
And
have any
that's why I'm here to help out.
Yeah, okay, well, tell us the tidbits. Interest
Interesting
tidbits.
tidbits.
That's right, we actually really need a tune that
Yeah,
we actually need a theme tune, don't we?
we do. We
We
really
really
do.
need to do that because when I introduce this, I wanna, like,
Beep.
repeat the theme tune.
Mm,
I wanna go songs on the couch. I don't know.
that could work. I like that.
That's got 80s TV show
Mm.
theme song vibes.
Like Family
Songs
Matters
on
or
the
something.
couch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we really need to do that.
Yeah. I
Um,
agree.
anyway, drum chucks, interesting tidbits. I don't know.
Interesting tidbits.
That's it.
Uh, Weekend.
Yeah,
Uh,
Weekend. Who's
I
this?
thought
Who's this young fellow?
who was this young fellow by the name of The Weekend?
I
Uh,
don't Who is this young fellow that is serving us up some sumptuous synth pop?
yes. Well, The Weekend is real name is now once again one of these. I hope I get this name right. Weekend. Asta Aweke. Um, from Canada, but
Right,
Ethiopian immigrant. Parents came to Canada.
right.
I actually thought he was American, so there you go, Canadian.
They were very interesting. I've got an interesting tidbit, but I'll let you go.
Oh no, please jump in. What's your interesting?
Well well, I actually was really interested to hear. I think we
Mm,
talked about this in the first episode
yeah,
where I looked up Air Supply, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm really interested in interesting vocalists' speaking voice.
yeah.
So, I thought, "Oh, just gonna look up a couple of cheeky interviews of
Yeah,
The weekend."
yeah.
And what did I find? My interesting tidbit was that I found out that he is Canadian, as you said,
Mhm.
a Toronto native,
Yep.
or as the Canadians say, Toronto. It's not
Toronto.
Toronto,
Yeah, Toronto.
Toronto. Just
A?
like
And you gotta put the
Melbourne.
A at the end.
Oh, Toronto, eh?
Toronto, eh?
Is that a little bit culturalist? I
Look,
don't.
my favorite band's from Canada, so I feel like I can do it.
Oh, yeah, you can do it. Okay.
I can do it.
Just like Melburnians would know that it's not St Albans, it's Snorbans.
I've never called St. Albans Snorbans. I'm sorry. Who calls St. Albans Snorbans?
Melburnians, apparently. Um,
Not this
anyway,
Melburnian.
not that guy. Not this
No,
guy.
not this guy.
Anyway, I'll get to the tidbit. Just
Oh,
get there.
yes.
Just get there, Mo. Just wrap it up.
That's all good.
The, the tidbit that I found out from listening to the Weekend speaking voice, which is a
Yeah.
lot deeper than I anticipated.
Ah, you know who that
Yeah.
remi have you ever, like, watched Prince talk?
Yes.
It's he's like Prince, so, like, Prince sings in a lot of falsetto is
Yes.
what The Weeknd sings, but when he talks like this, really deep, like
Yes.
and really punctual and, like, just well-spoken deep voice. It's
Right.
like,
Well, I'll have you know that the Weekend is a very well spoken young man.
mm,
And the thing about Toronto is that he was saying that he had not left Toronto in 21 years. The first time he'd left Toronto was when he went out on tour. Was that one of your tidbits? Did I steal it?
no, no, I didn't know about that
No.
bit. No.
Yeah.
The
So,
interesting tidbit for me is not that he left Toronto, but that he left home as a teenager, and then subsequently, he left home on the weekend and just never looked back, and then that's how he
wow.
got the name The Weekend
Wow, he just left
'cause
home on the weekend.
he left school and he finished school at, like, 17, like, dropped out of school, and then moved out of his parents' house, and him and his friends, like, lived in, like, a rundown apartment in I can't say Toronto. I'm gonna say
Toronto. Toronto.
Toronto,
Toronto.
uh,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
obviously experimenting with illicits and making music, and
Oh,
then he
yeah.
probably just
Wait,
had a really good weekend. He's like, "Oh, I'm free from my parents. I'm a teenager free from my parents. This is the
right,
best weekend I've probably ever gonna have." So he went, "I'll just change my name to The
right.
Weekend."
Right, because it's a very interesting age, 17, isn't it? It's a very interesting age,
Mm.
like, you're
It's
on the cusp of independence, but you
yeah.
still need a bit of guidance, but you might have
Mm.
some overbearingness from parents, there might still be some
Yeah.
rules, like, it might
Yeah.
but, the
For me,
weekend.
17 was like I wasn't quite old enough to start drinking because obviously our Canadian friends, if you're listening, in Australia, 18 is the legal age to start drinking. So I was not quite old enough to drink with like those friends, but then I felt I was too old for the 16 years and younger, group. You're kind of like this in betweener
An
between the
in between. So
yeah.
it sounds like the weekend carved out his own path.
Well, the weekend is in between Monday and Friday. He was
So
an in betweener.
he was an in-betweener. Right. Still well, was then,
It was then.
probably.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah.
But, the origins, of
Mm,
his story lie in the in-between.
yeah.
Oof.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Like, just to
Yeah.
have the guts to leave home at 17, go out on your own with your mates,
Yeah.
know what you wanna do. So, I've got another interesting tidbit actually
Oh, yeah.
that
Oh,
came out
I
of
like this.
watching this. Look, there was only 2. I don't mean to steal your thunder, AJ.
No, no, Mo, this is all about collaborating. I love it. Let's get into it.
Okay, so I did see him talk about one of his friends that he left home with, who is now
Yeah.
his artistic director,
Oh,
and
I see, I didn't know that.
convinced his friend to leave school with him
Yeah.
and become his artistic director. So, young minds, is it recklessness, or is it just like that fear part of our brain has
Mm.
kind of not grown over yet. Like, we
The
kind of
Superman complex.
yeah, right?
I'm
It's
Superman, I'm invincible, I
yeah,
can do anything.
yeah, it's like when
Yeah.
we hit about 25, we take a little look back and we go, "Oh, that was a
Yeah.
bit that was a bit risky."
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah, that
absolutely.
drug den that I found myself in. Yeah, that coulda gone either way. That coulda gone
Mm,
pear-shaped.
yeah.
Yes, so
I
it's
think he
kind
was
of
just
that
determined. I think he was just he
yeah,
just knew what he want like, some kids wanna complete their high schooling and then go to university. Some kids like, "Nah, school's not for me. I'm gonna drop out and I know exactly what I'm gonna do." I think that's just what he knew what he was gonna do.
yeah,
And he
yeah.
did it really smartly. I commend him for the way he became famous because 'cause I'm like,
Tell
"Oh,
me,
like,
tell
how
us,
did" he
how did he
became
become famous?
he became famous by becoming anonymous. So
Right,
he
okay.
when he released at his early days, he released tracks on YouTube anonymously. So didn't
Oh,
say who he was, didn't post his face, no pictures of him. He just put these tracks out and let the music speak for himself.
developing a hunger in the people to find out who this creative genius is.
Really smart. Like he didn't use uh, uh, social media, or he didn't use like an image to sell the music like,
Right.
some artists do. It's more about the picture than the actual
Oh,
music. Yeah, he went, "No, I'm really, invested in my songs, and I'm just gonna put them out there,"
wow,
like, it blew up on YouTube.
and see what happens.
Yeah. And he
Okay.
used to work at an apparel store, and he used to play his music over like, throughout the store, but not tell people that it was his music. People just be like, "Oh, this is really cool," like,
Wow.
'cause, clothing stores, they play top
Yes, they do.
they
They
pump out the music in the clothing stores, don't they? You walk in, it's just like sound
they
of
sure
wall of, like, top 20 music hitting your face.
right, it's trying to get you in the club vibe. So,
It
yeah,
it
so
is.
it kind of induces that conditioned response of, like,
Yeah.
happiness and kind of optimal mood of like, "Yeah, I'm here for a good time."
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Puts
Like,
you
he
in a
did
buying mood.
well, that's right, it does, doesn't it? But he did,
Yeah.
like, post them under the name The Weeknd, so people knew, "Oh, who's this Weeknd guy or
Oh, I bet
person
they
or
were
group?"
Googling the shit out of that, like, "Who's this weekend
Yeah,
person?"
but there was no photos or videos or information about himself, so
S
people were obsessed. Even,
off the grid,
yeah, yeah, and
but on
then
the grid.
Drake co-signed him, so obviously, Drake then picked him up because even he was like he was reposting his music, helping him to get, like, instant fame as well, so Drake really, um, was bought into this whole, "Oh, who's this guy? This person's producing really cool songs."
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
then Drake, co-signs him to his label, and then that's how he blew up.
Wow. So interesting because,
Yeah.
looking back at his earlier days, he had such a cool vibe, like a really great aesthetic and like with the dreads up on the hair and just like
Yeah.
the way that he dressed and
Yeah.
like just a real kind of, as the old folks say, a trendsetter.
Yes, yeah, he reminds me of, and when I looked up, like, when I researched him, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder, like, surely you'd have to have '80s influences in this." Like, he's not just
Mm,
writing '80s pop songs without not knowing,
mm,
the '80s, the artist of the
yeah,
'80s and where he gets the influence.
gotta
And
come
he
from
does,
somewhere.
and, like, with the Afro, like, he reminds me, like, he's going for that, like that, Thriller, Michael Jackson '80s Afro, the leather jacket, the glove, like, that's the portrayal I get from it, like, he's trying to,
The
and he
heavy
does say,
influence. But there's a
yeah,
bit of, like, in the image, a little bit step back, with the big kinda dreads, and
mm,
there's a bit of, like, Rasta kinda, influence with the aesthetic as well, like, the kind of
mhm,
evolution of an artist that they go through, there's lots of
yeah,
influences there, but
heaps of influences.
you're sort of saying some of the music is kind of aligned with the well, or the image is aligned with the 80s sort of influence.
Yeah, yeah, as well. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, he's like
Okay.
his biggest influences was MJ. Uh,
Right.
he's "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough," "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough,"
Yeah.
made him want to sing his vocal style falsetto. So, like, my
Oh.
yeah, so MJ was, was went, I wanna sing like MJ," and MJ
Mm.
and Prince is another one of his, um,
Mm.
influences, but more for the seductive, moody pop style. So, MJ was more the
Mm.
falsetto and Prince was more of the the background music of it all, because Prince's music is quite can be quite moody, poppy, seductive,
A little
Raspberry
bit
Beret.
sexual.
It's sexual, but still keeping that pop move. When
Connotative, you
yeah,
know?
When Doves Cry, it's got that moody, sexual pops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What about,
and,
Little Red Corvette, Baby
yeah,
You're Much Too Fast? That's a bit of connotative, there's
yeah.
a bit of discourse in that, that kind of suggests that he might be speaking about a loose woman. We don't slut shame,
No, no,
certainly
absolutely
not
not.
in the
No,
2020 odds, we do not,
no,
but in the '80s, Prince was all about it.
that's it. And it's funny, I know we're gonna go off topic, but one thing about
Always.
Prince is that even though it's funny, in the '80s, he sang all those seductive songs, but then after all that, he became, a really religious man. He became a
Was
Jehovah's
he
Witness man.
was he
Like,
always a Jehovah's Witness, though? Was he
uh,
always
he
I don't
could
know.
have.
We've gotta go back to fact check corner.
We do, we do. But I just find it funny that someone so
Yeah.
religious is still writing songs about
Yeah, about
seductiveness and moody, sexy.
sexual
Yeah,
overtones
yeah,
and
yeah,
undertones and all the tones.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I like how
Okay.
this song has got heavy '80s vibe. Like, not just,
Mm.
MJ and Prince pop vibe. It's got, like, new wave vibes as well.
Mhm.
80s, like those '80s synth pop new waves like Depeche
Yeah, like
Mode, Tears for
yeah.
Fears.
Flock of Seagulls.
Yeah, Flock of Seagulls, absolutely. Like Bowie, I get, like, some Bowie vibes as well.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but he does credit Bowie as being one of his influences as well.
Right. It's all
Yeah,
in there in an '80s soup.
it
I
is
mean,
a
like,
big
yeah,
80s
you
too.
can hear a bit of '80s Bowie influence, like the Let's Dance era.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I'm here
mm,
for it. Just a rockin' catchy tune.
it is.
Yeah. Okay, you got any more tidbits?
Well, it's funny. Someone quoted that I found this so funny. So I had to mention it. Someone quoted, "The Weekend is like if Michael Jackson and Depeche Mode had a love child who listened to Kanye and Prince while watching '80s neon drenched movies. His music is a fusion of these influences wrapped in a modern, cinematic, and mysterious package." I'm like, yeah, I
Some
think
sums it
I
up.
think I think someone's just summed that up quite nicely. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it has. That Blinding Lights to me does have that, uh, and the film clip shows it's very cinematic like, it's a
Mm.
song that, you wanna put your windows down. It's that '80s, driving through the mountainscapes,
Mhm.
pumping
The
the music,
the Hollywood Hills
the
kinda
Hollywood Hills,
vibe.
yeah, you got the white suit on,
Who
you
sang that
know.
song? Was that Bob Seger? Hollywood Nights.
Yes, it was Bob Seger, yeah,
Was it? Okay. Yeah. So I digress. Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry, audience.
But even the way he produced some of the instruments is still very '80s, like the drum. Even though there's electronic drums in it, there's a snare drum sound that has a massive reverb tail on it, and it's like gated reverb, which people might not know what gated reverb is, but if I
Tell
say
us.
"In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins, the drum beat, the do do
Oh,
do
the
do 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 do,
yeah.
that is like heavily gated, heavily
Huh?
reverbed, and it's an iconic drum sound, and he uses that in this song as well. I'm like, so he's got lots of really good nods to
Yeah.
not just the '80s, but actually really good '80s. Like, he's
Good '80s stuff.
good '80s stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Cracking tune. So
It
tell
is.
me, should
Mhm.
Any more tidbits before we move on and think about how it made us feel? Think about our feels. How it got
Mm.
into our feels. Got any more tidbits? Anything else you wanna add?
I think that's pretty I think that's
Yeah.
pretty he's got a lot, which I'm like, this is great. Like, I love I love my tidbits, so
Yeah. So,
he's a clever
lots
man. It's a clever song. I like it.
it's a clever song. Lots of nods.
Yeah,
Lots of nods to lots of culture that has
yeah,
come before.
yeah, and we should. Like, I know people get upset like,
Yeah.
"Oh, where's the originality?" I'm like, "Yeah, but there's where did the '80s get their influences from?
Well,
The
that's
'50s, the
true.
'60s, the '70s, you know?"
Yeah.
It's just an I think it's the highest compliment you can make is by producing something that was already there that was good. There's nothing wrong with bringing good
Right.
back.
Bring good back. Sit
There's nothing wrong with that.
inside good.
Yeah.
Let's keep it here.
Well, that and it brings a new that, like, this century's generation, they go, "Oh, okay, that's what his influences are. Maybe I'll go back and listen to, like, the original influences." And it brings it, like, gets them back in the limelight as well, and people go, "Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
this was actually really cool." Like,
Yeah. Like, didn't we see a resurgence of that? Like, I think through the Stranger Things phenomenon, like Kate Bush running
yep,
up that hill
yep,
just found a popularity again.
and went number 1. She's gone number 1 in
Yeah.
every decade since the '80s. So she went number
Oh,
1 in the '80s, the '90s, the 2000s,
oh.
2010s,
These are
and 2020.
interesting these are interesting tidbits that nobody asked for, but we got and we're here for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that song, just that song,
Okay.
not yeah, like Running Up That Hill is just
Okay.
it's yeah, and,
Yeah.
Master of Puppets Metallica, that gave them a massive resurgence as well. Like, I know a lot of people know who Metallica are, but there are
Oh, there's a
this
whole
up
generation of people that didn't know who Kate Bush
yeah,
is, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Every time I flick it
absolutely.
on Gold 104, I'm like, "Oh, Running Up That Hill." They're blasting. They're they're killing that song,
Yeah,
playing it
that's right.
24/7.
For our interstate and international listeners,
Yes.
Gold 104
Point
how do we
3,
Gold 104.3 in Melbourne is latest hits and greatest memories. No, it's not. It's what's their slogan? It's like
greatest hits and
latest memories?
something like that.
Greatest hits and latest
They pretty
memories?
much just play anything from the '80s and '90s.
Yeah, right. I know when I can't remember who I heard on there, like a fairly recent Foo Fighters song, and I was like, "Okay, I'm officially old now."
Mm, yeah,
So
that's on Gold if that's on Gold 104, like, wow.
you're old.
Mm,
You're old.
yeah,
Yeah. When I started listening to Gold 104, and I think it was I was in I was working in an office, and like all the people in the office were older than me,
mm,
and so I reckon it was this office I was working in the very early 2000s, like 2003, and they
mm.
played Gold 104.3 all day. And back then, it was playing hits like Cheryl Moana Marie by Engelbert Humperdinck.
Gee, are you sure they didn't have it on Magic 693? Jeez, because they were playing stuff from, like, the '40s and '50s on
Yeah, well,
Magic.
I think Cheryl Moana Marie might have been from the early '70s, late '60s,
Yeah,
early '70s.
yeah, yeah.
So now the generations have caught up because, like, the
Mm,
'90s and early 2000s were, like, 25 years ago.
30 years ago. The
30
'90s was
years
30 years
ago.
ago.
I
Yeah,
know, right? So we are officially old, and and it's not surprising that we digress
I
because our
know.
cognition cannot hold a single thought.
No, absolutely not.
Cannot hold a train of thought.
No.
Right. Okay, but we're here. We're in 2019 with the weekend.
Yep,
That's where we are, and we're gonna get up in our feels.
we are.
How to
Should we
make
start
you
with that?
feel.
Should we start with those that '80s Juno 6 synth in the intro? That's
Oh,
just
oh,
dun, dun,
oh.
dun, 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 dun. It's one of those songs that
What a hook.
you instantly hear it and you're like, "Oh, I know,"
I know that
like, you're gonna
song.
hit, you know,
Yeah.
10, 20 years down the track, you're like, "Oh, yeah, I know what that song is."
Mm, mm.
It's another anthem song.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, it's really catchy.
Yeah.
Really, really gets your toe tapping. doesn't it? But
Yeah.
then it kinda turns. It's kind of got this, ooh, this feeling. I don't know how you felt when you started listening to it, but I felt a bit, oh, see, I can't listen to it without listening to the lyrics, but even just the
Mm.
music kind of gave me a feeling of, like, emptiness, loneliness, like a hot summer night, and I'm actually all alone with my existential dread.
Yeah.
It's
What it remind do you remember the movie Cruel Intentions? Like, the very last scene where, oh, what's the actress' name? She's driving away in the convertible after, like, she's gone from the funeral. That's
Oh,
what but they're
yes.
playing the Verb,
Yeah,
Bittersweet Symphony. It's a bit like that. It's like you're
yeah,
alone driving around the hills or the countryside with your top
yeah,
down, and you're
and
just kinda, like,
all you're left with
looking
is
off and
yourself.
yeah, and you're not even concentrating, you're just staring out into the distance while driving. You're just like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
After
I got nothing. I got nothing."
after, might I add, some very toxic and destructive experiences in your life, all that's left is
Mm.
you. I don't remember much about the movie, but I remember, like, there might have been some toxicity,
Oh,
some
major
yeah,
toxicity at the end.
okay, and then
Yeah.
some breaking free of that, and yeah, I kinda had that feeling
Mm.
of just this kind of hollow sort of longing, this loneliness. How about you?
But exactly, but at the same time, w while bopping my head to it.
Yeah,
I I
talk
was like
about
I was like, "I don't know if I should feel." It's a bit like,
it.
um,
Other
it
songs we've
it's a
analyzed.
bit like our very Mr. Brightside. You're like, "Yeah, I'm jumping up and down, but I don't know if I should feel that."
Yeah, it's
For what it's
conflicting.
portraying. It's so
It's
conflicting.
it creates a tension inside of you. Yeah.
It does.
Okay.
For this song, once again, I until I researched the lyrics, I just thought, this is just, really c I was more listening to the falsetto. I'm like, "Okay, cool," because once
Oh,
again,
such a cracking vocal, like, let's
sucker
just
for falsetto, as I've
let's
mentioned previously.
yeah, it's beautiful.
Mm,
It's a beautifully haunting kind of tone to
mm,
that falsetto, to that, to that, vocal sound. It's rather haunting, isn't it? It kinda depicts the longing.
yeah, and in the chorus, when "I say ooh," that's got, like, a massive reverb, and it almost sounds like, it kinda reminds me like a howling wolf.
Right.
And why do wolves
Wolves
howl?
howl. Oh,
Because 'Cause they're
well, because
lonely.
they're lonely and they're longing, might be a little bit hungry. I mean, it could be, like, literal hunger or
Mm,
figurative hunger.
yeah, yeah,
Hunger for something, for closeness, for
hungry
attention.
like the wolf.
Hungry like the wolf. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so well done, The Weekend,
Mm,
for creating, the feeling, for evoking the feeling in the listener. Like,
yeah.
it's all there because I think we've talked about this before, but, you know, I think that's true genius when an artist can make you feel what they're feeling,
Yeah.
with song. Which I get the sense I mean, this is if we're gonna get into the psychological analysis
Well,
of the
that's right.
song, it's about a longing, it's about an inability to sit with the loneliness, and I think,
Mm,
kind of sitting with the loneliness and trying to solve the loneliness, trying to push it away is I think what the title of the song is about, The Blinding Lights. It's I think it might be a bit of a metaphor for fixation really, because when you're blinded by lights, you can't think about anything else,
nah,
right? You've
that's
got
right.
no perception of anything else around you except for the lights. So, I think he's kind of fixated on trying to push away the loneliness that he feels. There's sort of a need of to make himself feel okay.
Yeah, and when you break up with someone, okay, the traditional way, not via text or anything like that, but when you break up with someone, traditionally, if you're at their house or you're in public, as soon as you break up, what do? You get in your car and you drive back home or to another destination.
Yeah,
And then so you're in the car alone, your
yeah.
thoughts are running at a million miles an hour because of what just happened.
You're going through grief, loneliness.
Yeah.
I'm not
And
sure this is about a breakup, though. I'm not
no,
entirely sure, but
I don't
do
think
go
it's about
on.
that, but it's
Yeah,
the lyrics are saying like he's telling the story like he's in the car by himself,
yeah.
just driving to whatever's just happened away, driving away from the situation and trying to process
Oh,
it, and all that he can
mm,
see is just street lights. Like he's not even concentrating on the road. It's
mm,
like a deer in the headlights, just
yeah.
street lights blurry lights going past him. And he's just like,
Well,
I
I think I'm gonna be a bit contrary here.
okay,
It's controversial, but I'm gonna be
quite
contrary.
contrary, quite contrary.
Quite contrary.
Yeah.
I think he's not driving away from something. I think he's trying to drive towards something. I th
Okay.
Okay, and I think I think what he's trying to drive towards is curing, finding a salve for this sense of loneliness that he's got. I think,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I do. I kind of think that there's part of it is about driving towards fixing the loneliness, like finding a
Mm.
solution, finding another fix, right? To push away the loneliness. But I think it's also about lust. It's about this kind of craving for physical and emotional connection,
Mm.
driven by desire and kind of an emotional emptiness and longing for an attachment. I think it's kind of, yeah, fueled by this sense of trying to find a temporary high because he's got emotional regulation problems. He can't regulate loneliness.
Yeah.
So, emotional regulation is kind of that ability to be able to sit with your feelings and
Mhm.
just let them run through you and not do anything to fix them, just to let them be. It's my therapist voice.
Yeah. Mm.
Just to let your feelings be,
Yeah.
understand that your feelings won't kill you, that no feeling is final, that it will pass, that it does have some meaning and significance that we can think about why it's coming up.
Mm.
But I think that this song is about not being able to regulate some feelings
I was
and
gonna say,
Mhm.
'cause how do you regulate someone that's gone from 0 to 100 in, like, 60 seconds?
Right. So has gone from 0, I can tolerate this loneliness, to 100, I am driving through the night to find a fix to get rid of this loneliness, like,
Or to try and find you? 'Cause that's what I
oh,
think that's what he's trying to find, he's
yeah,
trying to find, I've been trying to call, I've been on my own for long enough, maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe it is a fix, or maybe it's
yeah,
someone that's, severely hurt
yeah,
him, and he's trying to get it back.
maybe.
But
I
then
think he's actually well, I had some ideas about this.
okay, yeah,
This line about, you know, "You can show me how to love, maybe." I had a little theory.
okay,
Um, so about I think it's about attachment theory, right? He's asking so attachment theory is sort of this concept that explains how our early relationships shape the way that we connect with other people in our lives. So,
right, yeah,
the way that we've bonded with our caregivers as, infants and children can either be secure or insecure, right? And it affects how we experience intimacy and trust and emotional dependence in our adult relationships. So I kind of get the sense that he's quite an insecurely attached person that is being described
mm,
uh, in in this in these lyrics, and he's longing for someone who's securely attached to show him how to love,
yeah,
maybe to show him how to feel safe and secure in a relationship. So
and I
yeah,
got a thought now,
go ahead.
and we don't obviously, we don't know, the Weeknd's history or story, but to me, it
Mhm.
almost sounds a little bit autobiographical in a sense because
Yeah.
left home at 17.
Uh-huh.
We don't know if he had a loving family or anything like that, but that could have been a driven as to why he left home and not have
Yeah.
and it's still 17. You're still a kid. You're not quite
Yeah.
an adult. So, and you still do rely on your parents or that parent figure uh,
Yeah.
to get you across the line, so to speak. Uh, so maybe there's that, a little bit of biographical, self going,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
even though I've accomplished things at such a young age, and I got away from whatever I got away with at such a young age,
Yeah.
maybe I'm still needing that,
Yeah,
and
well, we
maybe I'll put that in a song.
right? I mean, yes, so much yes to that because we as humans, we need attachment to survive,
Yeah,
right? Like, without and Gabor Mate, who is uh, he's a very, well-known, um, medical doctor, but also psychotherapist, and he
yeah.
dabbles a little bit in the psychedelics. He does psychedelic assisted psychotherapy,
Like
and
recent or like in the '60s or still
no,
going
no,
or
like now.
Oh, really?
I think he's in his 80s. Yeah, Holocaust survivor. Uh,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, and he sort of talks about, you know, I mean, he talks a lot about trauma and attachment
Mm,
and
mm.
but, I was watching something recently. He's not the theorist that thought of that kinda came up with attachment theory. Oh, I'm gonna have to go back into the textbooks in my mind. I think it was, I think it was John Bowlby that talked about, human attachment
Yeah.
and identified the different attachment styles. Like if you're securely attached, you've had very strong relationships with, good enough caregivers and you've
Mm.
internalized them and you feel okay in relationships. You can trust that people won't hurt you
Mhm,
if they've
mhm.
been good enough. But if you weren't able to trust that your caregivers wouldn't hurt you, or if they were inconsistent with their care, you
Yeah.
sort of end up with an anxious and an insecure attachment style, and that kind of is thematic throughout your life. You become anxious in your relationships. You can't trust that you won't be hurt.
Yeah,
You
of
can't
course.
trust that people will be there for you or that their feelings for you are true and real and
Yeah.
anyway, I digress. I think it was John Bowlby that identified attachment theory. I might have to send that one back to Correction Corner, therapists, counselors,
Yep.
whoever out there.
Comment below.
Comment below. Get up in the comments and tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm a shit therapist. 'Cause I don't know. But it's one of those
Don't do that.
things. It's one of those things that you learn about, right? But you don't know it until you kind of feel it and see it in the room.
Mm. Mm.
And it's something that you can work with because you want to give people a corrective experience. You want to be that securely attached caregiver that can, without retaliation, take all of their rage, all of their transference, which is, when people transfer what happens out there in the real world
Mhm.
in their relationships, and then it transfers onto you as the therapist, like, so anyway, see, look, getting old, cognition, can't hold a train of thought.
I know, I can see where you're going with this.
And you see,
So,
okay, tell me, wrap it up for me.
you're saying I'm gonna link it to the song, alright?
Oh, no, no, well, actually, no, go back to him being 17, right? Let's go
Oh,
back,
right.
and we're talking about
Okay.
Gabor Mate, and we were
Oh,
talking about
right. Okay. I
but
thought we're talking about linking it to the lyrics,
well,
how we're
we'll
linking
link
the
it yeah, but I wanna
okay.
finish about, the the fact that humans need attachment with caregivers to survive, and
We do.
that in infants will actually, become quite sick and in some instances die if they don't have good enough attachment.
Yeah.
That sounds really dramatic, but there has been some studies and some anecdotal evidence from like orphanages where there's not been enough caregivers and
Yeah.
infants without attachment have died. So, you're right about the weekend being 17, being without, caregiver attachment from that age, maybe who knows what their history is, maybe emerging from their caregiver relationships with some kind of anxious, insecure attachment and a longing, like a deep kind of hole inside of them that's kind of a sieve. You
Mm.
put the love and the attention and the affection in there and it falls out the other side. People with there are some studies, I don't know off the top of my head, counselors, therapists, psychotherapists, get in the comments, tell me the studies that, the more secure your early caregiver attachments are, the better you can emotionally regulate because
Yeah.
you've been able to internalize a very strong caregiver that
Mm.
gives you a soothing adult voice inside of you that can
Yeah.
tell you that it's gonna be okay. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
We're gonna
you
get
can contain your inner child,
you can
essentially.
contain. Yes. Yes, come through. You can contain
Hey,
your inner
very much
child.
that's it.
Hey, Drum Chuck's over there. He's picking up a thing or 2.
That's it. Mhm,
Right? Mhm.
mhm.
Right? So, yes, it might speak to why there's this development of this uh, anxious attachment style and this longing for connection. But it kind of also becomes a bit of an addiction, a bit of a fixation. The reward center of the brain starts pinging.
Mm.
It's kind of, how could I say? There's a bit of a addiction metaphor running through the song, like, and so, there's a bit of reckless behavior, there's a bit of agitation coming through, and I think that, dopamine sort of sits at the seat of addiction where
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
it's our brain chemical that sort of plays a role in motivation, pleasure, and reward. It's the thing that makes us feel really good when we achieve something like a late night Tinder date.
Yeah.
Um, and,
Hey,
um
Netflix and chill. Netflix and
right,
chill, yeah,
exactly.
I'm hearing it. Yep.
Right? So, dopamine is kind of, yeah, responsible for us, wanting we wanna do things that are, what's the word, like, evoking, our dopamine to sort of fire off.
It's
So we
almost like your body's producing legal drugs in your system to make you addicted to something that's not good for you.
Yeah, mate. You've got it. It drives us to seek out experiences that
At
bring excitement and satisfaction, but
at the ultimate end, you're gonna pay the price.
yeah, they may not be too good
Yeah.
for you because too much dopamine can lead to sort of a tolerance of those things that you do. You don't get, as much of a dopamine hit. So the thing that brought you the good feels no longer do
Yeah.
so. So you got to search for more and more and more of it.
You go bigger and
Uh,
harder.
you go bigger and harder. So,
Mm.
we've got some anxious attachment style on one side. We've got some
Yeah.
kind of a reward center in the brain that is pinging for more dopamine, pinging for more reward,
Yeah.
maybe as a mask to this emotional dysregulation, like as an avoidance strategy. Like I'll try and feel good because I'm feeling
Yeah.
really bad.
That's right.
So I might engage in some thrill seeking, and I might be driving towards that rather than driving
Away from.
away from the
Mm.
hurt and the grief
Yeah.
of
And
a relationship gone wrong. Yes, do go on. Tell me.
when you're feeling when you're up there with your dopamines, no matter who's around you, you trust that person, don't you? Even though they're not very trustworthy, you're like,
Mm.
yeah, I'm in a not in a reality world right now. I'm in a non-reality or we'll call it,
Yeah.
science fiction world.
It can
Because when
make
you
you ignore the red flags and the warning
so you
signs.
just trust whoever's in front of you. Go, I'm just going to trust you because
Yeah. It can
I can't trust me. I'm not in that frame of mind to trust
no.
me. So
Well,
therefore,
the only thing I can trust is my desire to make these bad feelings go away, and you are it right now.
yeah, and that's what he
You
says in the lyrics. I can't, obviously I can't sleep till I feel your touch. I said, I'm
Yeah,
drowning in the night. When I'm like this, you're the one I trust.
right? He's saying, "I'm
When
so
it's
agitated by my longing that I can't sleep. I'm really freaking lonely. Save me.
Yeah,
You're the only one." So
help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
right? You're my only
It's
hope.
You're
But
my
the
only hope.
one that can satisfy my lust and my desire and my longing is pretty much the only one that can save me from myself, right? So it's
Mm,
kind of about a fear of loneliness. It's really existential. It's really like, you know, drum chucks, let me tell you.
yes, pop
Nobody
psych.
nobody wants to die alone.
Oh, of course not.
No, but nobody wants to die alone. So,
But
I think
ultimately, even if you're not alone, you still die alone.
you still die alone, right?
It's what you make of it between birth and death.
It is. And it's really the human condition. Really the human condition and the ultimate riddle for humans to solve
Yeah.
is about our existence and coming to terms with the fact that it's impermanent and that we are going to die one day and we are going to be alone.
Mm,
And so, for someone with a very anxious attachment style and a Jones and reward system for dopamine
mm,
to help them to help distract them from their
mm,
loneliness,
mm,
it's looming large. This existential dread, it's looming large. The world feels meaningless, and there's a void that they want
mm,
to that they sort of want filled. I mean, this kind of speaks a little bit as well to sort of what we might call some borderline personality features, some symptomology there, like,
mhm.
you know, borderline personality disorder is, look, and these days, and therapists, counselors, psychotherapists, please correct me in the comments. I'm a good enough therapist.
100%. You wouldn't be doing this if you weren't.
No. I'm not going for perfection here, I'm going for
That's
good
it.
enough.
You're going
Um,
for what you're going for the as long as the people understand me, that's
that's
fine.
it. This is what I'm going for.
That's it.
I'm going for a little bit of spicy psycho ed is what I'm
That's it.
doing. But, borderline personality disorder, is well, these days, we're sort of thinking it's really a, personality traits that have developed through complex post traumatic stress disorder, which is sort of repeated relational traumas,
Mm,
at a very micro level, consistently and constantly in caregiver relationships. So it ends up in a cluster of features of a personality style which involves sort of intense emotions. There's not very many people in the population that experience this. I don't know. Counselors, psychotherapists, get in the comments, tell me how many. I don't know. It's a low percentage of
yeah,
the
yeah.
population, but yeah, like I said, it sort of involves, intense emotions, unstable relationships, a deep, deep fear of abandonment. So these people with these traits, this personality sort of style, they often struggle with impulsivity, mood swings, and a very shifting sense of self. They
Mm,
experience extreme highs and lows in relationships, and they perceive rejection really easily, and they react quite strongly
yeah,
to perceived experience of rejection and loss. So it's really, at the core, it's about experiencing very strong emotions in relationships and being, really challenged and having difficulty in regulating those emotions, and it's sort of really typified by push and pull dynamics in personal connections. It's just never feeling safe in a
Mm,
relationship, never feeling secure. It extends a bit beyond this sort of anxious attachment style to a pervasive personality style across the lifespan that reveals itself in occupational relationships and work dynamics and friendships,
yeah, yeah,
caregiver relationships and romantic relationships.
blows up.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a little bit of that here in The Weekend. I'm not again, not my patient. The disclaimer is don't know this person, but
We know the
you
lyrics. We're reading. We know the song.
we
We
know
hear
the
the song. We
song.
hear the lyrics. We
Yeah.
interpret it. That's
There's
is how we interpret it.
This is how we interpret it. So a
It's
couple
a
of
little.
things.
It's yeah. Keep going.
Well, no, I was just gonna say there's a couple of themes in there really about attachment, emotional regulation, potentially borderline traits, or trays. Some people say traits trays.
Never heard of
Uh
Trey.
no, maybe it's something in the psychotherapy world. I don't know. It's
Maybe.
maybe it's a French word. Maybe it derives from our French friends.
Maybe. Oui oui.
Maybe.
Très bien
Oui,
maintenant.
oui. Me either. Yes, what were
So
you gonna say? Go
I'm
on.
gonna flip it to a layman's term. So what
Yeah,
you're saying, all of that is pretty
yeah.
much like a moth into a flame. It's like the moth going
Yeah.
towards the light. Don't go towards the light, Gary, because 'cause you're
Yeah,
gonna get burnt. You're
Gary's
gonna burn out into a crisp.
Gary thinks that the light's good for him.
Yeah,
Gary thinks that the light is the
Gary
salve.
is
Who's
blinded by the lights.
Gary's blinded, but boom, boom. He
Gary,
owned it.
don't go towards the light, Gary, is from A Bug's Life, Pixar A Bug's Life, where there's
Right.
2 flies and they got the blue bug zapper, and his friend's like saying, "Don't go towards the light, Gary." And he's like, "It's beautiful." Psst, and then that's it. He's like, "Ah!"
That's it.
So,
Well, the weekend
don't go
is
towards the
going
light.
towards the light.
Yeah.
And the light is pretty reckless. It's a bit dangerous. It's not really good. It's
It's
not good
hot.
for
It's bright.
Gary,
It might be bright, but it's
but
very
it's
hot,
hot and you're
and
gonna
you're gonna
get
get it
burned.
burnt. Oh, I like that.
Stinks, stinks.
You're gonna
Bam!
get burned.
That's right, drum chucks. We're gonna put that in a t-shirt. We're gonna put
Yeah,
that on a t-shirt. We're gonna have like two drumsticks with nunchuck chain between it,
100%.
and
Yeah,
then underneath it's gonna
love it.
say drum chucks.
And then we'll hopefully get licensed to sell actual drum chucks, drumstick drum chucks,
Oh my
nunchucks.
goodness, could you imagine?
I know.
Could you imagine that could be a very good way of keeping your drumsticks together?
It could. You wouldn't really be able to play more
No,
than this
no, but
far apart, but
if you had a little detachment
oh, like
point,
a clip. Oh, that's clever.
ah, isn't
Yeah.
it? We're gonna patent that. Nobody better
Yeah.
steal that.
No.
Steal that.
And but it's also the classic. I'm going to bring 80s pop culture into this because we're talking about the 80s.
Go ahead.
If you haven't seen the movie Highlander, it is a really good B grade movie from, and the soundtrack's
Yeah.
amazing by Queen. But there's a line in there that says, "It's better to burn out than to fade away."
Well,
What are your thoughts on that in regards to this?
I mean, with this kind of attachment style and emotional dysregulation, an inability to regulate feelings, there's going to be a bit of burning out here. There's
A
going to
lot of
be a bit
burning
of
out.
burning out. Just, the emptiness, really. I think, see, this is the thing, right?
Mm, mm.
I'm going to do a mic drop moment
All
here
right.
on the road pod mic.
Yep.
Maybe we might get a, I don't know, endorsement deals.
Road, hit us
Anyway,
up. We want to drop
oh,
mics.
we wanna drop mics.
Yeah.
I can't remember my mic. See, we're getting old. What'd we say before that? Take me back.
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
Yeah, it's better to burn out than fade away, and then we're talking about the emotional dysregulation
Yeah.
and, yeah. Oh, that's the mic drop moment. The
Yep.
very thing that people with anxious attachment, maybe some borderline traits want is like a very secure attachment, but the way that they behave perpetuates the emptiness, the
Mm,
reckless behavior, the late night hookups, the you know, the thrill of it all.
mhm, yep,
It perpetuates the lonely feelings. It's not satisfying.
nah,
They're an emotional sieve, and you put stuff in it and it just falls out the bottom.
yeah. It's like
So
someone's just cut a hole in the a big hole in the sieve.
that's right. Well, the sieve has holes in it anyway, but yes, no,
Yeah, but they're
someone's
little holes which you
okay,
can
someone's
water.
yeah, someone's
Yeah.
cut through the sieve and yeah, you're
No,
right.
it's just going straight through. It's
It's
not
gone
sifting
straight
the good
through.
and it's not sifting the bad bits to give you the good bits.
No, mate. There's none
Eh?
of that happening. None
I
of
can
that
talk
happening. It's
I can talk about
all
sieves for days.
right, and you're a drummer.
I
Who
do.
knew?
Who knew?
So, in all, yes, that's the mic drop moment, that
Yeah.
the way that, this song is playing out, it really sounds like it's perpetuating the loneliness and the longing, and there endeth the lesson, AJ.
Mm. Once again, turning a negative into a not a positive, but
Well,
into a positive, upbeat song.
right? Turning a very negative emotional cycle,
Into a dance track.
a dopamine driven trace, a dopamine driven chase for intoxicating love connections,
Mm.
to distract from the fear of loneliness. There it is.
And I'm gonna finish with the reason that this song is so good and people have it on repeat is because it's like a dopamine for them.
Well,
This song is a dopamine.
it very well could be. It
Yeah.
very well could be their
Full
dopamine
circle.
fix.
Yeah.
Full circle moment, but that's it. It's,
Wow.
yeah, what a track, what a tune. Few learnings there, few
Lots of
learnings.
learnings. And I know I said this in but these artists where I've never and you can tell I can easily bring up 80s pop culture like nothing and bring it into a conversation. But the stuff like this, I'm just like, what? I don't know enough, but my God, it's opening up my mind and it's great.
Yeah,
It's amazing. It's
isn't
so good.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should just put more songs on the couch, so let's do that. What's next?
What's next? Well, what is next is the band 21 Pilots,
Yeah.
and the song is called Blurry Face.
Is it Blurry Face?
It is called
No,
Blurry Face.
it's
Yes,
not, it's called Stressed Out, isn't it?
it is called Stressed Out. No, you
Also
know why? Because I think the album is called Blurry Face.
oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
We are so old
we
that
are.
we can't even remember songs that we discussed less than an hour
Like
ago.
no, you know why? Because I'm looking at the album cover and it
Oh,
says
you're looking
21
at the
Pilots and then Blurry Face. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's blur yeah, we're doing Blurry Face."
is it
No, we're
is
not doing
it
the full album.
right, okay, we're not doing the full album.
We're
Is it
doing the song "Stressed Out" on their album Blurry Face from 2015.
but I think you'll find that,
Mhm.
"Blurry Face" is actually a lyric that features in the Stressed Out song. So perhaps
Ah.
I think it did.
Yes,
Yeah,
it did.
when we
Yeah, yeah,
listened to it.
when I was having a quick listen, yeah.
Yeah, but look, yeah, alright, well, let's get into it. Until next time. Well,
Mm,
are we staying rocking? We stay on the couch? Stay on the couch.
stay
That's
on the
what
couch,
people
yeah.
our age do.
Chill out. You
Yeah.
know, you don't you can after this, you can listen to the song and do your own deep dive analysis. You can chill out wherever you want on the couch, in the
Yeah.
car, however you listen to this lovely podcast, or if you're watching it on YouTube, have a listen
Yeah,
to the song and tell us your comments on your interpretation of it all.
absolutely, and if you're a
Mm.
therapist, counselor, psychotherapist, psychiatrist, and you've got some corrections to make, I'm here for it in the comments.
Same with you musos, because I'm still learning the music from the 2010s, and the 2020s. So
Yeah, tell us, correct
any
us.
Weekend fans, more than happy to reach out.
Yeah. In fact, what we might have to do is do like a full
Mm.
episode of Corrections Corner, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm willing to put my hand up to say, "Hey, I was
Great.
wrong." I'm willing to be right. It's okay. It's okay
Yeah,
to be wrong and then right.
me too. That's it. We can tolerate that. So
Okay.
until next time when we analyze 21 pilots stressed out,
Yep.
we will
I feel like you're getting stressed out already.
I know. No, not really.
Okay.
No. No.
You don't
I
get
mean,
stressed, yeah?
we have had to work through some shit to get to this point of being able to do this podcast. There was some emotional turmoil, but we're here and we're
Yep.
doing
That's it, and we're smashing it.
and we
If you don't think we're smashing it, we think we're
yeah,
smashing it.
we think we're smashing. And again, we're open to feedback, so let us know in the comments.
Yep.
And until next time, we will see you then.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
On the couch. On the couch.
Thanks for tuning in to Songs on the Couch. We hope you enjoyed putting today's song under the microscope with us.
And hey, the conversation doesn't have to end here. Join us over on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search Songs on the Couch, where we're sharing behind the scene clips, more fun music insights, and of course, chatting with you all.
And if you're an artist, musician, psychologist, counsellor, psychotherapist, or know someone who'd love to sit on the couch with us, have your management reach out. We'd love to hear from you at hello@songsonthecouch.com.
Follow us, subscribe, and let's keep rocking out together. Catch you next time on Songs on the Couch.